Are we communicating through the miracle of the internet? Is it working? Hello. It's been a little while. I'm just gonna shuffle things about on my desk so I can see your messages and things. How how is everybody doing? It's I missed last week, I think, because I'm moving to Mondays, which is, it's a big shift. Basically, for those of you who don't know, I work Monday to Wednesday these days. And so I was like, okay, I would like to free up my Thursday and Friday completely because that lets me do whatever the heck I want, wherever the heck I want, which is still a lot of the time just working. But there's like this feeling I get when uh, when I know that the day is mine entirely with nothing scheduled. So, yeah. Let's see if everything's working. Streams. I'm live now. Am I getting an announcement in the chat? Let's see if that works. Hopefully. Who's out there? Who do I have hanging out? No, I don't want to set a members only stream. Hello, hello. How are you doing, JD Penner? How's it going? I imagine this stream might be a little bit quiet and a little bit more intimate than usual with the number of people because I set a new time. I've been a little bit MIA lately. I've needed a little bit of time to recharge because it's a really surprising thing when you go from like 2,000 subscribers to 22,000 in the course of like 1 month. That's a weird thing to have happen to you. I'm great. Excellent, excellent. Good to hear. Um, yes. I don't know. I don't know what I'm up to today. I mean, I have some ideas. I want to talk about some of the research that I've been reading because I have been reading a lot lately. I cracked open the iPad, which is what I use to read. Hey, with Ducks, how's it going? Been a little while. Um, oh shoot. That's sorry. I'm reading this paper. It's smartphone addiction is increasing across the world. A meta-analysis of 24 countries. Right, really cool. I've been like diving more and more into actually like the modern literature. Eva Renox, is that how I pronounce your name? Let me know. Hello, hello, welcome. Doctor Strangelove, like the is Doctor Strangelove like the oh, what's his name? Kubrick? The Kubrick movie? Wait, hold on. Stay right there. Like like this? Cuz I've got a steelbook of Doctor Strangelove. I haven't watched it yet. It's my cousin's steelbook. Looking forward to it because we were trying to finish Kubrick's like filmography. Is that what you call it? At some point. Awesome. Okay, well now I know it's a good movie. Now I know for sure. um, okay, yeah. Anyways, as I was saying, we're looking at really good. Okay, nice. Hello, hello. How's it going? So this paper. Let me maybe instead of my face and like a zoomed out view of this, we'll do a little desk view and see how that goes. Let's go this guy? This one? No, no, no. This one. Okay, cool. So here's the stats for the stream. And then let's go ahead and do this. And I think I want to go over to here. I'm just gonna pop this off that screen for a second so you don't see my info. And then we're gonna talk a little bit. Today, basically what I want to do is chat about research a little bit and then get into some Linuxy stuff because I've also been studying for the Foundation's Certified Systems Administrator something something. So we're going to be going over some of that together. But where is this paper? Is this one? No, it's under. It's not interventions. Is it just Smartphone addiction? Yes. Across 41 countries? No. No. This one. Okay, cool. Hey, Nick, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. Okay, so Jay Olson was somebody that I worked with at UFT, and this person over here, Dasha, is somebody is one of my girlfriend's friends also at UFT. So I was very surprised to see this author on there. Not surprised in like there's no way she would do this research. Surprised because it's just like, oh wow, friendly face. Anyways, the research is bleak. The research is really something. And I'm quite concerned. Okay, so let me lay out what I've been noticing. For those of you who don't know, who've never done like academic research, Zotero is an application to manage your library of research papers and stuff that you're reading and referencing, right? And so usually the process looks like you go on Google Scholar and then you just search something like smartphone addiction, right? And then and then you get really annoying things like papers called is smartphone addiction really an addiction, which is just wild to me. Apparently behavioral addictions don't matter. Okay. Anyways, you go looking for these and you get these long papers, right? Like this. Like this. I haven't read through this one yet. I'm looking forward to it. But basically, what I've been finding is like really crazy stuff. Like if we just look at this paper here, this is a meta-analysis of 24 countries. Huh. Maybe they found papers across, either they found papers published in 24 countries or on research participants from 24 separate countries, or they ran a really big ass study. We focused on adolescents. We conducted a meta-analysis of studies published between 2014 and 2020 that use the smartphone addiction scale. Cool. And what they found, we focused on adolescents and young adults since they tend to have the highest screen time and smartphone ownership rates across 24 countries, 83 samples, and 33,000, almost 34,000 participants. We demonstrate that problematic smartphone use is increasing across the world, from China, Saudi Arabia, and Malaysia. And then Germany and France as well. So this is like pretty crazy. Zotero is goated. It is indeed. So we're seeing like smartphone addiction, problematic smartphone use is on the rise across country, and then it is on the rise across sex, age, and country as well, which is pretty wild. So in general, smartphone addiction on the rise. Big time. Um, and then we're seeing some really crazy stuff like, what are the papers I've gone through? We're looking at establishing the relationship between loneliness and internet or smartphone addiction, meaning in life, as well as smartphone addiction, social isolation and smartphone addiction, social media use and perceived social isolation, more social media use crowding out real life social interactions. Yeah, there's a lot. there's a lot of stuff happening here, and it's pretty bleak. It is, and like when we look at this research. Hello. Really enjoyed your most recent video. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Is it BM Rolo? Is that how I pronounce that? Thank you. Yeah, it's looking like the attention economy has tendrils into like every aspect of our well-being. Like it is shocking to me how many things are being impacted. Now, this is mediated by the idea like, okay, well, if we can say that social media overuse, let's start with that, crowds out in-person real life connections to people, right? So if you feel that your social needs are met through text, then you're less likely to seek out social connection in quote unquote the real world, right? And I think I may stop softening these things. I think it's not unreasonable to make to declare some sort of difference there. Anyways, if you're doing that, then it makes sense that your social isolation is increasing. And there's papers that actually show that um, there is next to no positive benefit to your well-being through social media connection, save for if you're doing like video calls with loved ones. That is very different from like the kind of text-based soft touch stuff with like likes and comments and things. If you're replacing real world connection with that, then it checks out that you're going to be increasing your perceived social isolation. Um, so it's a play on my name. Ah, cool. All right, BM Rolo it is. And so this makes sense. And then obviously social isolation has very strong ties to depression, to anxiety, and then to meaning in life rather, right? So I'm actually seeing studies that demonstrate that people with higher meaning, like higher sense of their meaning in life, are less susceptible to problematic smartphone use. Whereas, hey, Plus, how's it going? And Lofix Arts, I think. Tell me how to pronounce your name. Lo-Fi X Arts, maybe. Um, I will get to that shortly. Um, so if all of that's happening, it makes sense, right? Because these are like things that feed back on each other. If you're experiencing social anxiety, then it would make sense that you socially isolate yourself a little bit because you're afraid of entering social situations, which makes you feel more socially isolated, which may depress you, right? All of these things sort of work in tandem, and it's really like it's scary for me to see. But there's a lot of really positive stuff too. So I don't want to just come in here and be a doomsayer. It's like I've been streaming for 12 minutes and all I've said is, "Hi, welcome everyone. Everything's terrible." There's some really good news, and I want to talk about that as well. But first, let's look through some of these comments. So, does the study cover short form text content like X? Usually, when they're referring to something like smartphone addiction or problematic smartphone use, it really, like, those measures are mostly self-report and about broad screen time. So it's a little bit more rare to see studies that break down the specific apps. When you look at social media use, X would be included. So that would very often be things like Facebook, Google Plus, if anyone uses that, Twitter. I'm not going to call it X. I'm just not. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of those things would sort of get lumped into one thing. So yeah. Nick says, I find even Discord does not help isolation either. It feels like it does, but overall it made things worse. Yes, I generally agree with that. I think there is room for some nuance there. I think generally voice and video calls probably lead to a little bit more foster that sense of connection a little bit more. I've been noticing as I've been calling friends and family more often that has a pretty positive effect. So I think there's some nuance, but yes, generally like text-based communication does not seem to foster that sense of connection. Mag Ulov. Is that it? I started my declutter about 2 months ago, and now apparently making 2 to 3 hour calls with people is the norm, and it feels so much better. Yes. I find like because you have less like because you need to entertain yourself somehow, it's very common to just like it can become a very positive habit to just call up a friend, and that's pretty awesome. Like what I thought was depression was loneliness and has largely gone away from me. That's fantastic. Okay. Rodox says, turns out I might be able to do my thesis on attention in regards to cybersecurity, awareness, and sensory overload. Without you, I wouldn't be able to get this idea. Can't wait to get started. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so excited to hear more about that. BM Rolo says, that's awesome. What's the approach for that? Okay. And then we have Lo-Fi X Arts. Wasn't the new study with 100,000 participants based on specific social media apps that have short form content? That's why I asked the short form text question. I don't know if I've seen that study. If you have the name or like a link for it, I would love to read that paper. I may have missed that. Oh yeah. So today we're going to chat a little bit about some of this stuff, and then I'm going to be working on studying for my Linux Foundation Certified Systems Administrator test. I found like a set of resources, and we're just going to go through that in the latter hour of this stream. So should be fun. Should be a lot of fun. For the first like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, we'll be talking about this, and then I'll probably we'll go back and forth. I'll stay engaged if you all have questions that are attentiony. But I do want to do a little Linuxy stuff because I've been like off my Linux game lately, and a number of the people hanging out in the community have been pinging me like, "Hey, can we do a little bit more tech?" And I'm like, "Yes, we can. I should." Hey, Tim, how's it going? What do we got here? So, survey-based research on employee understanding security alert fatigue. Security alert fatigue is a really cool angle. Authentication friction impact on productivity, empirical data on user acceptance, optimal security usability balance. That sounds like a really cool area of research. Very nice. Sanji TPS says, love the last video. Digital declutter is something I was working on myself. I didn't call it that though. You mentioned self-hosting made me realize I haven't coded for fun in years. Hoping the cognitive clarity or whatever helps me get back into it. That's awesome. Well, we love doing home labby stuff here, so you are among the right folks. Do you have any projects in mind? I would love to hear about what kinds of things you're looking to build. Um, Okay, Lo-Fi X Art says the study is called Feeds, Feelings, and Focus, a systematic review and meta-analysis examining the cognitive and mental health correlates of short-form video use. Well, that is worth keeping. Hey, Dixie, how's it going? Just checking in. All good? We are doing pretty good. Okay, I'm just gonna grab that paper for sure. Do I not have my Zotero stuff here? Okay, I'm gonna drop this in science. Uh, and definitely take a look at that study soon. Sanji says, want to dip my toe back into C Sharp. Been doing Java and Python, CRUD enterprise apps for so long. Cheers from Brazil, says Pedro. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I haven't written C Sharp since grade 11. I think I was 16 the last time I wrote C Sharp. It was one of my first computer science classes. I haven't written Java since my first co-op either. I have been doing Python pretty much every day though. Yeah, I've heard surprisingly good things about C Sharp. I say that because like generally, I mean, in my mind, C Sharp is Microsoft's Java, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like something I'm excited to dive into. But that's pretty cool. I would love to hear more about your projects. I mean, I have heard very good things about C Sharp, so like much to my surprise. So I would like to hear like what you like about it, what you're interested in building with it. That would be cool. Plus says enjoyed some offline life thanks to a Netgear switch. Shouldn't have trusted them again. I see. I didn't realize Netgear. Do we have a positive, a negative opinion of Netgear here? Is that a thing? Um, I don't know how much Netgear stuff I own. Probably not a ton. I also had some offline time on Sunday, which was good because I needed it to finish editing my video. I had another little one of those like brownouts, but luckily static leases came into play and my services were okay. I do need to fix my main Proxmox server to boot up automatically whenever it's powered, like whenever there's a power outage. So I need to jump into its BIOS later. So I'm gonna give my best shot at your name, and you tell me how to pronounce it correctly. Is it Maguloff? I'm not sure. Let me know. I want to get it right. Maybe it's because I'm not from North America, so I have access to transit, but because of declutter, I've been having amazing conversation with strangers in trains. Really? Yes. So while in general, Canada's public transit is significantly better than many of the states in the United States, it's still not awesome. Nowhere near Europe. And in general, we have a culture of like not talking to people in transit, right? Like it's a very individualistic, like I'm just going where I'm going, don't bother me kind of thing. But I would love I'm a fan of small talk. I like making a joke with the cashier or like I like when like a server at a restaurant is like, cracking jokes or telling us about their day. That I find really pleasant. So I would love interactions like that. It sounds like I'm getting insane, but it's great. No, it sounds like you're doing something awesome. What do we got here? Dixie says, installed AdGuard Home on my server a couple of weeks ago, tried and failed to have in a Docker container. While I was screwing around with it, I opened up port 53 on my router. I checked on my AdGuard dashboard and I was having around 10 million DNS queries every 24 hours. Was that bad? Yeah, that's probably not good. That's probably not good. Definitely shut that down. But I mean, maybe do some, if you have Windows machines and stuff like that, do a strong search for viruses and things. Take a look through your config files. Maybe plus, if you have some advice for somebody who may have had a bit of a security event, would be useful. But yeah, so lots has been going on. Lots has been going on. I'm glad to have finally put out another video. Because I took about 2 weeks off. It was 3 weeks between this video and my previous one. I'd been feeling a little bit tired, but I'm excited to make this week's video. I'm not sure what I'm gonna make it on yet. There's a couple of ideas. I'm hoping to interview some researchers and bring them into videos about like smartphone interventions. I have not gotten a response yet, so we'll see. But because I'm hoping, right? Like I'm not emailing from my old UFT email, so maybe I won't get a response. But it would be really awesome if I could reach out to some of these researchers and bring sort of like connect this audience, this community with some people who are like, on the ground doing research. I think that would be super exciting. Yeah. What else? What else is so? Anyways, that's all to say because I finally want to do the video on how I dumb down my smartphone. But the way I dumb down my smartphone is based on a set of interventions by a researcher that were published and validated to pretty great success. Actually, I'll show you all just really quickly what that paper is. So if we pop over here and then back over here, then look at interventions. We've got this this intervention, 10-step behavioral intervention to reduce screen time. I put this in the Discord. But even just looking at the abstract, there's really, really promising positive stuff here. So 2 studies, which is nice. It's always nice when a paper is published when you're getting, not just one study, but you're getting 2 or 3 that replicate the same results. They had 2 studies here with a reasonable population size or sample size, 51 and 70, and they found that this intervention found reductions in screen time, problematic smartphone use, and depressive symptoms after just 2 weeks of intervention. That's insane. Like that's really positive. And then intervention reduced screen time by 1 hour per day and returned problematic smartphone use scores to normal levels for at least 6 weeks. 6 weeks of benefit for 2 weeks of intervention. And then you look at the intervention and it's really quite minimal, right? So it's like, it's, disable non-essential notifications, keep your phone on silent, disable Touch ID and Face ID so that you have to enter a password, which makes it more annoying to open your phone. Keep your phone on silent, turn down your phone's brightness and set it to grayscale, hide social media or uninstall, blah, 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 blah. So a set of really minimal interventions, nudges, right? In the space of interventions, nudges, let's put me back over here. Let's go back to my face. In the space of interventions, there's like interventions, which take quite a bit of time. Nudges are ways that you can shape your environment in subtle ways to make it more likely that you'll take one behavior instead of another. This can be as simple as like, I place apples at eye level on my shelf and put the cookies on the highest shelf. This actually makes meaningful difference for your food choices, right? That's a nudge. And we can do nudge-based interventions for our smartphone use. All right, let's take a look at what people have been saying. Polish people also hate transit talk, but I just decide to be that guy and it's always great. The pronunciation is about right. Okay, cool. It's not a real world anyway. Okay, a real word anyway. I see. All right. How many devices do you have? Even with my Windows 11 work notebook, which is like 70% of DNS requests, it's about 60,000. in 24 hours with about 15 devices. Huh. Okay. Mm-hmm. Nice bag. Oh, I is that must be from the other camera. This is my girlfriend's bag. 10 million is a lot. Did you have logs enabled? Recently found out if you block all Samsung domains, recent Tizen tries to reconnect 3 times per second. Same for Samsung sound bars, but one TV plus one soundbar is 1 million. Okay, yeah, we need to. I've been on this attention kick for a while, and I probably will be for some time, but clearly there's a need to explore a little further on this channel and in this community, like data hygiene and data privacy stuff, because people don't know that Samsung soundbars are sending out that many queries. Like, that's nuts. I didn't know that, right? Like, there should not be that much data flowing out of your home. I would love to do an audit. Like, if we could as a community start reporting on what devices are sending out what data, doing these analyses on devices, that would be really cool. Okay. Yeah. How is your day structured? Mine? Well, on work days, so that's Monday to Wednesday, I wake up usually around 7, and then I do like I'll make my coffee, I do a little meditation, I journal for a bit, and then I log into work at about 8. Um, I usually from that point do like half an hour of planning about what I'm going to do and what needs to be done. Then I do 2 to 3 hours of coding. That's like my big contribution for the day. Um, and then take lunch, do some learning. Very often I'll like spend some time learning about a technology we use, learning about AWS, learning about Linux. Um, because I think it's really important to constantly be like developing your skills, and that's valid use of work time as far as because like it makes me a better employee. And then I'll like and then usually some code review and stuff like that. And that usually brings me to about 4. Um, I take breaks every now and then, grab a coffee, go for a short walk if I need to think through a problem, stuff like that. My lunch is about an hour. And then after that, I do a lot of reading and vibing and stuff. That's my general day. I leave my evenings fairly unstructured. I like to have a very structured morning. Probably the most structured thing I do is like my journaling meditation routine, because I'm a very anxious, a very anxious person. And so the journaling, like I do gratitude journaling, and I do just like mindfulness meditation, and that makes a really big difference for me. And I find when I don't do it, I am much more susceptible to stress. So I kind of have to do that. I need to work back in some exercise. Okay. What else are we doing? What else are we doing today? I don't know. I feel like it's been a while since I've had a chance to chat with you all. How have you all been? Let's grab this, throw this over here. That's why I started to poke around, because my hard drive was full. Also, thoughts on this new Monday time slot? I prefer it, but I want to make sure it works for people. Oh, I'm getting sound. What the heck? Oh, my last video is playing. Okay. So, yeah, there's that. What else? What else are we up to? Currently stressful for me. Your overall experience has been stressful lately? Fair, fair. I feel like in the wherever you live, is this also the sort of like holiday season for you? Because I recognize that can be pretty stressful for quite a few people. Um, what do we want to do? I'm going to start diving through some more of this. Let's jump back over here. So, anyways, I think my next video is going to be looking through some of this. Great time in Sweden, 22:30 right now. I feel bad. I have to jump back to like AM PM. Canada is such a mishmash of American and European, um, what do I want to call them? Not traditions, but that too. Like systems. Like we use the metric system for most things, and then I'm like, yeah, but I'm 5'11", and it's like, why are we not just using the metric system for everything here in Canada? I find it frustrating. 10:30, yeah. Can't find time for my side projects. I help my family business 5 a.m. till night. I work on my master's degree, need to find time for the gym, and don't have much free time. Damn, that is a lot. That is a lot of work. Um, Damn. Cheers from Argentina. Hello, hello. Welcome. Doing incredibly well. Finished a slower day of work, but feeling great since I've achieved a nice config on my phone for better focus. Nice. Awesome. Tired mentally and physically. Yeah. I mean, given what you're talking about, that is a big workload. And I don't think you can be blamed for feeling that way. That's quite a bit. Um, what do I want to go through? I've been thinking about. So for those of you who don't know, let's jump over here. Just gonna sign in off screen just in case. Is it this one? Use passkey. Boom. My friend Nick and I have been working on this guy, the 30-day cohorts app. Um, do I have a version of this? Yes, I think I do. Which is basically what we're trying to do is scaffold a series of interventions throughout the 30-day cohort like program, by just giving you a bunch of like forms and reflection pieces to sort of work through. So if we hop over, it's very much a work in progress, but we're hoping we can get this done by January. We moved at first we thought we could hit December. That was ambitious. Is it just this? Should work. I think I've got this on just localhost. Is it 8,000? No, I think I've got this on 3,000. No? Yellow? Is it not quite up yet? Let's take a look. Yes, honestly, if you like, as much as it would be, I wish I could do something to, help with the workload situation you're sort of under, but definitely at the very least, reflecting on the positive things you're doing can be helpful. I know that can often feel like a non-answer when you're extremely stressed, but hopefully that's helpful. Teased a coworker from the US for not using metric SI units. Not now he's using Kelvin when we talk about temperatures. Your friend is funny. That's such a fun way to deal with that. Okay. What? I think it's just, is it just that this variable is missing? Let's do a git pull. What? I don't remember altering these. What am I gonna do? I think I'm just gonna stash and then pull. I'm already up to date. Okay, cool. Then let's do this off screen a little bit. Just make sure that my .env. I mean, this .env shouldn't matter, but I want to make sure. Not ow. The demo effect. Yeah, truly. I mean, I think anyone who's been a part of this stream for a while knows that they're not coming here to get a polished experience. Like the meme, I haven't done a lot of like of home labbing for a while, right? We haven't done the sort of live home lab stuff that I started the stream with, and we'll get back to it because it's always so much fun. But it hasn't been kind of my focus lately. Anyways, anybody who's been around for that knows that it usually takes me 2, probably 3 tries of installing something to get it running. So, yeah. Have you tried turning it off and on again? I did indeed. All right, so not this. Let's see if it's 8,000. Ho! Okay, cool. So, we're building this out. And it's going to be is a dashboard and some forms and some like readings on a schedule to scaffold your experience with the 30-day digital declutter. So if I think my account should still be Okay, we don't have cohorts yet. So let's take a quick look. I think I can do this, and then we can set one up. Now, for those of you sort of participating, if you plan to, obviously you're not going to have to do anything in the admin panel. That'll be all us. Let's add a cohort. Test unpaid 2. We're planning on releasing the first cohort as like 0 payment, but if you would like to, it's sort of like donation based or something like that to fund the servers that we're going to need and all of that jazz. And then in the future it'll be paid for, but if people have like sort of justifiable financial circumstances, we'll slip them a code to run for free. Anyways, what's the date today? It's the 24th. Let's go ahead and start this today, and then we'll run this till December 24th. This is active. This is not going to be paid. No max seats, and we're going to save. So now we should have test unpaid 2. Haha! Okay, so we can join this cohort, and then there's an entry survey which needs to be worked on. This entry survey, by the way, is going to be based on a number of like valid psychometrics. So, for example, if we look over here at the smartphone addiction scale, there is a lot of research that goes into how to properly assess things to ensure that you're actually assessing what you think you're assessing. And so using these questionnaires that are validated helps a lot. This is the SAS SV, the Smartphone Addiction Scale short version. It's 10 questions or so, I think. And it works. It's basically the research standard these days. So you can add well, I guess these are the questions. Where is the actual, do they have it in the appendix? I guess it's just this guy. Yeah. So we ask, have you, I think it's disagree to agree, missing planned work due to smartphone use, having a hard time concentrating in class while doing assignments, feeling pain in the wrists or at the back of the neck while using a smartphone. Interesting. Huh. So it's a set of like standardized questions that you can ask. And so we're going to build these in so that we're like basing our work on science. We're also going to measure things like, what the heck? Let's go here. Generalized anxiety. This is one of the things I'm thinking about. The GAD-7 is a 7-question survey that is the sort of research standard for assessing your feelings of anxiety. Same thing, there's one for depression, and we're going to be assessing all of these things so that once you go through the 30-day cohort, we can actually do some statistical analysis and say, do we see measurable, statistically significant differences between the... Why is SteamOS launching? I hit all the buttons. Are we seeing actual statistically significant differences between your problematic smartphone use at the start, using the SAS SV, as well as your feelings of depression and anxiety and maybe some other metrics from the start of the thing to the end of the thing? This could be really cool. So I'm hoping we can make like valid contributions here and partner up with researchers. Could be super fun. Let's game. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm headed. Nick in the chat, Nick B is the other developer on this. We're sort of partnered up on this work, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. It's been fun. Let's fill some of this out, and then we should see today's tasks. Profile? No. We'll have to fix this up. But yeah, also some really cool stuff because obviously in this community we highly value your privacy. You can do all of the reminders are opt-in, not opt-out, for obvious reasons. We have metrics that you can see, your metrics, anything that we gather, you can see. However, we do caution you not to like overly engage with your own metrics because gamification can be an attention-y thing. And of course, you can export your data and delete your account, which means not like deactivating your account and setting your information in our database to deactivated. It means deleting your data. So that should be good. When will it be available? I'm hoping January. I'm hoping. It's a lot of development work to do. Um, so, but as soon as it's ready, I will be pushing. Um, Privacy. What are you trying to hide? Yes. So hopefully it works. Hopefully it works. I mean, that's a silly thing to say. I know that I can't say I know. I have very strong evidence that if we use existing interventions that we know already work based on past studies, there is a very high likelihood that this will help, right? So that's I can't pitch you anything better than that. I know that this worked incredibly well on me. We have a lot of research on interventions, existing interventions, and I'm going to be continuing to read those papers and studies, staying up to date on that so that we can build the best possible thing we can. Hopefully partnering with real researchers who can also pitch us ideas about how we can intervene and help people the best as best we can. That's my game. That's what we're working on. What do we got here? Deactivated and deleted Facebook and Instagram. Feeling much better already. That is a huge improvement. Just removing those is likely to cause a decrease of phone screen time of at least an hour. The higher you're starting, the more you're gonna dip. But that's gonna be awesome. A random stranger. I have exam in 2 days, but I'm racing Hyperland. What is wrong with me? First time Hyperland user. I've been there. I've been there. It's just super fun. I love customizing things. What do we got? You have a Discord server? Yes, I do. Let me drop the link. Let me drop the link. So we're gonna go invite people. Grab this, and then drop that there. Screen time down 40% last week already. That's awesome. Congrats. ZFS gang. Hell yeah. Uh my NAS is all ZFS based, which is good. Joining now. Hell yeah. Welcome, welcome. I'm giving this name a shot. Dieguterute? Yeah, no, I'm gonna need your help on that one. I do my best to practice pronouncing everybody's name the way they would like. So do not hesitate to give me like a phonetic pronunciation, and I will give it a shot. What else we got here? As a general idea, a DMZ where most of your land isn't would add a nice layer to prevent small errors from being public problems. My dad has been talking about DMZs a lot. That's we're both going to be moving to OpenSense. Actually, hold on. I still haven't implemented this thing. I've got this great little router device from a company called Protectly, and I still need to set it up, but it's comes with OpenSense pre-installed. It's got an N150 processor in it, and really nice heat sinky guys going on. So I'm really looking forward to configuring this. I just haven't had time. I think maybe my dad and I, because we have very similar devices, maybe we'll do this over the winter holidays because we both have some time off on Christmas. So this could be good. Um, what else we got in here? What else? Tried to quit all at once and try baby steps. Both failed for me. It's incredibly difficult, which is why we're spending like when I say we, I mean we as a community, but then Nick and I building the web app uh, and stuff like that. Why we're spending so much time studying and reading the research and hopefully connecting with researchers soon on like figuring out how to help people do this because it's insanely difficult. It really is. The hardest part is isn't like the first week. It's always the sixth week and the seventh week, right? Because those interventions start to fail. So yeah, I will be going on an exchange for a few months and leaving my community for a while. I wonder how that will affect my ability to stay off the shitty things in media. Seems like a hard one. Yes, that I imagine will be quite difficult unless you can find a way to like meet some people that you enjoy hanging out with in person there, or and supplementing that time with like making phone calls and video calls back to your loved ones at home. I think that'll help a lot. FreeBSD gang, says little bro. I I'm looking forward to having something FreeBSD based in my system again. Sorry, network, right? Because I ran FreeBSD for a while. I love the unity of BSD systems, but I haven't had the time to run one. So I'm looking forward to that. Uh, Alone Alexandros. Hello, welcome, welcome. Okay, so BM Rolo, you have some experience with these Protectly routers. That is good to know. Plus says, installed OpenSense on vSphere today. Did the beginner's error of downloading the image BZ2, but TBH, they really hide the ISO. Ah, wasn't allowed to name the VM. Really? It did. Oh, is this something you were doing at work, or is this like within your own network? Alone Alexandro says, good thing about macOS is that screen time app sucks, so it's always wrong. Is it really? I didn't realize that. I've turned my spare laptop into a file sharing server since I use more than 4 to 5 systems. Just sharing files are a dumb idea, I think. What are other use cases? Well, first off, I think there's some really cool stuff, right? I think file sharing is a great place to start. Then getting into just like Dockerizing stuff. I like AdGuard because ads suck and it feels nice to have fewer ads, right? So AdGuard's like kind of a nice thing to just start with. And then if you have space on like a NAS, or even up to 2 TB is enough to start, you can start doing Jellyfin stuff, and that's a lot of fun. It's sick. Ultimately, I hope to move my home lab to FreeBSD with jails instead of Docker. I was reading about jails. Apparently, jails were out like quite a while before Docker. But I guess it makes sense, right? Because like the C group thing was in the atmosphere for a while. Like people were thinking about isolation through C groups for a while. Is it C groups? I think so. And so it makes sense that multiple instantiations of that concept came out, right? I don't really care as much for screen time. I just want to be more intentional with the content I'm consuming, not just mindlessly doom scrolling for hours a day. Yes, I agree. So I talk about screen time. This comes up a lot, right? They're like, well, is all screen time equal? And I think in general, the intuitive answer is no, right? Not all screen time is equal. If your screen time on your phone is 2 hours because you had a long video call with your grandma, that's a lovely 2 hours, right? Nobody's like, you wasted your time calling your grandma. If they do, that person's an asshole, right? But 2 hours spent on TikTok is obviously not beneficial. But screen time still makes for a reasonable metric that correlates with problematic smartphone use, right? It's really difficult to spend 6 hours on your phone, all 6 hours of which are valuable. There comes a point where you're like, yeah, we're clearly past a point where all of this can be useful. But yes, yeah, not all screen time is equal. AdGuard home for the win. Hell yeah. This was for work, running libvirt and proxmox at home. Yes, so you made the switch over to proxmox. I remember when we earlier on in the streaming days, you were talking about exploring proxmox and how you were running primarily libvirt. When did you make the switch again? I forget. We'll give OpenStack a try when memory gets... Is OpenStack the one that's like kind of like an AWS, like self-hosted AWS type of thing? Is that what I'm thinking of? What else we got? I tried declutter 4 weeks ago, but I bounced back. How do I get back to it? How do you get back to it? It's a really good question. Well, first off, Omarchi's lock screen keeps launching. First off, I recommend, I've got this like form sign up sheet. So we'll be running a scaffolded thing soon. And that's going to be very helpful, I think. However, so you can submit that Google form and I will like email out when we run the supported scaffolded digital declutter. However, if you want to run one, let's say over the holidays, maybe it might be a good idea to start with something small. So I recommend just some of the nudges. For example, setting your phone to black and white is a surprisingly effective thing. Turning off your notifications except for like vital things, because you can make it so that your phone only notifies you if like your 5 favorite people text you or call you, whereas like Facebook can't send you notifications. That can be super helpful. So maybe some of these like small tips might help. What do we got? Personally, I use Google Docs a lot. I was thinking if there was any way to use the app and store the files on my server. However, as an Obsidian user, I have already put my vault on the server. You might then be interested in, oh man, I forget what it was. There was it's not Nextcloud because that's not. I haven't heard great things, but there's an open source. I wish I had it on the tip of my tongue. I will think about that. Adding to the previous question, I haven't actually tried digital decluttering, only watched the videos. Fair enough. Well then maybe you'll find a lot of value in the upcoming January run of the cohorts because I think it'll be good. I will be making some videos in the meantime to prep the audience, prep the community, start equipping them with some of the things that might help. But yes, start small. Turn off your notifications, either uninstall or hide social media apps, and then set your phone to black and white. Those 3 things can make a very big difference. Try starting there. What do we got? As a person who failed many times, try and fail different things until it works, but never quit trying. Yes, I also agree with that. Remember, like in my last video, I talk about this. It took me 5 years to get to the point where I'm at now. So I want to show, yes, Nextcloud is not great. I want to show this so that people understand that this is real, right? Like I'm not lying here. How do I? Okay, hold on. Okay, maybe we can do it like this. I'm gonna pop over here. This. Okay. So there we go. That's my screen time. It's 12 minutes. 12 minutes a week. Or sorry, a day. But prior to that, prior to my like 50-day declutter that I sort of made my YouTube about, right? My YouTube video about, it was at about 2 hours. And I brought it down from 6. So big difference. But it took all those years to get there. It takes time and practice. Open Office, I think, might have been the one. Rclone will fix that. LibreOffice, SyncThing. I love SyncThing. SyncThing rocks. Switch to Proxmox went smoothly. Only 2 setups. Okay, so it's not just me. You know, it like greatly comforts me to know that it also took you 2 shots. First one was ZFS on SSD, but got afraid of write amplification. Back to XT4. PBS is great. Okay, what's PBS? I should have shown the 12 minutes of screen time in the last video because I got some people being like, oh, so you didn't actually do this. And I was like, what? What do you mean? So in my next video, I'll definitely be like, no, I did this. I really did. So yeah. Completely cutting off doesn't feel like the right choice. What do we got? Deleted Twitter today. Only lasted 5 days there. But like there is some value in checking Blue Sky from time to time. And I really do appreciate when I talk to people in Discord. Yes. So, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying quit all internet communication because I'm here, right? I run a Discord. I run this YouTube channel. I highly value what we do as a community. But there are healthy patterns of use and negative patterns of use. And I think it can be very surprising how much we think is like healthy patterns of use turn out not to be. Like, I've never been a Twitter user or a Blue Sky user, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. But I think like a lot of people use Twitter, for example, to stay up to date on news. I think in general, the goal of staying up to date on news is a good one, but it can be better served by slower forms of media, right? You might be better off getting a newsletter weekly about the things you're interested in and spending your Saturday morning reading 30 minutes of newsletter as opposed to like checking in on Blue Sky or on Twitter, which can often be very like shallow takes that are emotionally charged because it's part of the attention economy. Now, that's my broad generalization. I'm not saying that you don't have any meaningful way to engage with Blue Sky, right? You may be doing something that I'm not aware of that you find really valuable. Still, there are ways to sort of like change the way we interact. For example, with your smartphone on you at all times, it's really easy to create some sort of like behavioral patterns of just checking, just constantly checking. Whereas if you take it off your phone and engage with Blue Sky through your desktop computer, you're much less likely to have some sort of like behavior that interrupts your life form. So there are ways that we can sort of like still gain access to things we care about while avoiding some of the behavioral patterns that we don't like. Proxmox backup server. Ah, okay, gotcha. I've heard really good things about Proxmox backup server. I just haven't set it up yet. Maybe I should definitely do that. I should definitely do that. Um, Also, really curious about your ZFS write amplification stuff, because like I've been in a number of situations where I've tried a new file system and wished that I was on XT4 because not necessarily because there's a feature that I miss or I miss the way XT4 works, but because I have an intuition about how XT4 works. I grew up on Windows, and there are like just basic patterns. Like when I delete a file, I expect there to be hard drive space opened up. Whereas on ButterFS, that's not the case. If you delete files, you still have snapshots with those files in them. You're not actually clearing up hard drive space. Then you have to do a defrag, and then you have to clear the snapshots, defrag, and then you get hard drive space. I made this mistake, and my hard drive filled up, and my computer was unusable for a bit, and I had to do a bunch of learning. I often miss my intuition about, I think they're journaling file systems. As you can tell, my file system knowledge is weak. And so I often miss being on XT4. So I'm curious about this one thing about write amplifications. Was it that ZFS was just doing way more writes than XT4 would have? What do we got? My screen time is 1 to 1.5 hours, and it feels like nothing. That's pretty low. Like you're probably not engaging with problematic smartphone use very much at all, right? Like if you were to take one of these surveys, it's in my mind, grain of salt always, very unlikely that you're suffering from problematic smartphone use at that level, right? Now, you could have screen time on other devices, and that might be problematic. Or it may not be problematic, but you may enjoy using that time on other things more. That's what I found, right? Like at the 1 to 2 hour range that I was in, I'm probably not exhibiting too many features of problematic smartphone use. However, when I freed up that time, I found I enjoyed my time more. So just because something isn't problematic or an addiction doesn't mean that we can't live in a way that we prefer, right? We can't have a different lifestyle that we like better. That's the way I like to think about it. What do we got? So if I'm listening to a clip about Linux with my phone in my pocket, that's no problem. Yes, that's another problem with screen time, right? Because like you're still being inundated with information while you're listening to podcasts. And again, I love podcasts; they rock. But we do have to consider: do you have sufficient time to sit with your thoughts? That's a very important and healthy thing to do. And if we're using podcasts to sort of like crowd out our thinking, our own thoughts, that can be problematic. What do we got? Also really love having an RSS feed. I have put Bear Blog in there, really cool blogging site, and I read random posts sometimes. It's quite nice. No algorithm, just random people yapping. That does sound nice. +1 on using social media via a browser. Yeah, huge improvement. Also, when you're in the browser, there are extensions that you can use to change the interface and remove addictive UI elements. Especially with uBlock zapping to remove crap like shorts, trending pages, etc. Yes, you get it. You get it. Nice to read when waiting for stuff. Yes, I agree. For a while, I kept a like books on my phone as well, so I could just like, whoop, I'll just do a quick read. I work from home these days though, so I don't have a lot of opportunity for that to matter, and I just I keep my book with me. I'm currently reading Frankenstein and loving it. This book rocks. So, anyways, I'll have to take a look at Bear Blog though. That sounds cool. Copy on write file systems have no RAID hole, but the trade-off is a write log, and this write log is one write more than in place. Not a problem on conventional hard drives, but SSDs don't like it. Oh, hey, Jake! I use Twitter via a browser on my phone for the past like 4-ish years. Better experience than the app. I recently closed the Twitter tab and felt so much better for the past month. Hell yeah! It's it is astonishing what happens. Jake, by the way, I'm gonna give you a call sometime just to catch up because I'm doing calls now with friends, and I miss you. And having a RAID write hole on SSDs is a luxury problem. Okay. Extensions, huh? I should install Firefox on my phone. Nice. This guy understands it. We logged in. You know, other browsers don't get extensions. Yeah, yeah. With the whole Chrome, what is it, Manifest v3 thing? I have no idea what's going on with all that, but I am definitely making a move back to Firefox. I moved to Chrome because of the availability of extensions. So I'm on Chromium. Chromium is also the default on Omarchy. And then on my MacBook, I use Safari because I like defaults. Whenever possible, I like to use defaults. But yeah, I want to move to a hardened Firefox. Maybe make a video on hardening Firefox and like using different search engines and stuff like that, just for like data hygiene would be really fun. Love that and miss you too. Excellent. Good. Okay, then we'll definitely call. I think you mentioned Philosophize This. When you declutter, you can finally read those books he talks about. I finally read Unbearable Lightness of Being and had a great time. Yes, exactly. Because Philosophize This did an episode on Frankenstein, and I thought, damn, that sounds really cool. And so I actually got to read it. I also read The Myth of Sisyphus and loved that. I've been a fan of like Albert Camus, the podcasts he did on Albert Camus, as well as Dostoevsky. I'm realizing that I have like existentialist vibes. And so it was really nice to read those. Yeah. Very curious how Ladybird will progress. Yes. Me too. Try Zen. What is Zen? Oh, Zen the browser. I did try it once. I was lukewarm on it. Maybe I'll give it another shot. I'm actually rocking Safari on my Mac because I got tired of browser wars. Yeah, I'm on Safari on Mac as well. Brave bypasses the Manifest v3 stuff. I might be wrong though. I do use, so I keep Brave on my Mac as well because Safari sometimes just doesn't work. They just don't build stuff to work on Safari very often. So yeah. I'm also using Chrome on my phone because most mobile browsers kind of suck. Oh wow, 40 concurrent viewers. The gang is all here. How's it going, team? Brave on mobile is pretty solid. Takes a bit to configure, simplify, but worth the setup time. Yeah, so this is one of those like things I've done that's just like wacko levels of dumb down my phone. So Brave is for the hub. So it turns out I'm gonna switch cameras here. We're gonna go this guy. I will get a better desk view soon. I have a camera dedicated to it. Actually, would you all bear with me for a second? If I take about 5 minutes, I think I might be able to get a desk view running. And I'll just keep yapping as I do it. Maybe we'll give that a shot. Let's take a look. What do we got? Now that you're reading more, I recommend looking into a Kobo. I do have a Kobo actually. Because I wanted to be out of Kindle. And I gave my Kindle to my mom. So I'm on Kobo. I want to do the Kobo, what's it called? Calibra Web, the Kobo Calibra Web thing. Because that looks super cool. Very like data privacy, very I own my media type of thing. So very much in line with this community, self-hosty. That's gonna be exciting. But I love physical books. Like they feel good. I love turning a page. But actually here. This is my Kobo. Love this thing. What do we got? Yes, have backup Chromium browser seems to be useful. I used to always rock Safari on work machines because as a web app dev, no one else used Safari, and Safari-specific bugs would sneak in all the time that no one else would catch. Yeah, if I were a better person, I would do my development on the Windows machine at work. so that I could catch all the Windows errors. Um, but I don't I'm not gonna be a martyr. I'm not gonna use Windows just to find those bugs. But yeah, I hear you. Andre Sanyu says, "Hey, I'm new. Hello, hello, welcome. We love new people here. How are you doing?" We're just chatting about a mix of home lab and attention stuff and data privacy, and it's been a really good time. I've been a little bit away from the community for a while, and I'm having a great time catching back up with everybody. What else we got? The fact that mobile browsers don't have extensions is such a scam. Yes, it's some bullshit. And they're like not as easy to use at the very least. Extensions do suck on Safari generally. Would you please soon make a video about your minimal iPhone setup? Yes, I'm really trying, hoping to make that either this week or next, depending on, because I really want to get an interview with this particular researcher, and I'm hoping I can hear from him soon. Because yeah, that would be super exciting. We'll see, we'll see. Yes, they work as well as League of Legends on Vine, huh? Or at least I didn't make them work. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, wine. Ah, yes. League of Legends does not work well on wine. What a shame. Physical books, rip, especially from a library, makes the book feel more meaningful. Yes, I love my physical books. They just like, I like having them in my bookshelf. I've been thinking about, this is a weird thought, so bear with me for a second. But a lot of my research, when I was doing research, and I feel the need to say this every time, I don't have a PhD. I dropped out. Okay, so like, do not associate me with doctoral levels of knowledge. But when I was doing my research, a lot of it had to do with nudges, right? We talked a little bit earlier about how you can shape your environment to be conducive to different kinds of behaviors. Like having the healthy foods at eye level and putting the cookies on the top of the shelf leads to an actually statistically significant difference in how much time you spend eating apples versus cookies. Kind of insane, right? And so I've been conceptualizing physical media as a nudge to think about the kinds of things that you like thinking about. So when you only have streaming services like Netflix, for example, you don't have an environment filled with the media that you love, right? Because there's nothing to put on your shelves. There's no movies on your shelves that, like, oh, I remember that time I watched this movie with my loved ones. Or like, oh, I you see Frankenstein on your shelf and you're like, ah, yes, the terrors of romanticism, right? Like all of these things. I've been thinking about physical media in your environment as a nudge to make you continue thinking about things you find interesting, and how not having those things in your space might change the way you think, or make your thoughts feel less interesting to you, or less your own. I haven't developed the thought very much yet, but I think it'll be part of a YouTube video I make when I get into, like, when I talk about jellyfin. Should be kind of fun. The more I read about philosophy, the attention economy, etc., the more I feel like I have to get involved in politics. Do you? Oh, this is so. One of my weird traits being in this space is I tend not to engage in politics, or political discussion very much. That's not because I don't believe politics matter. It's because I think I'm not shaped well for it. Like, I don't think I have the right mindset for it. And instead, I like to focus primarily on the things I can do to help the individual or the local or like a small community, which is why the cohorts and why the YouTube videos the way that they are. And then my hope is that by helping those people, I'm also empowering them to take on some, if they're so inclined, some sort of political stance, and do it that way. Or and then the other thing is, maybe by connecting people to research, we can improve the research, which will be useful in some sort of legislative action. Like, a belief of mine is that it's nuts that we allow, knowing full well that there are UI UX patterns that are addictive by design on purpose. It is legal for companies to put those designs into applications built for children. That's insane, right? And that's the kind of thing that would require legal and political action to address. I don't know if I'm the guy for that, but I hope that maybe I inspire the guy for that, or the person rather would be a much better way to phrase that. I don't know if I'm the person for that, and I don't think, but I hope that maybe the person for that becomes a member of this community and I can help them. That's the way I think about it. I'm also very concerned about like political discussion in online spaces tends to be like highly inflammatory and attention capturing. And so I disengage from it in spaces like Twitter because I don't think a lot of productive stuff can happen in that space. Whereas if I do become politically engaged at some point, it'll be in person somehow. It'll be at the very least organized through video calls, um, making legislative action, like organizing actively, not through social media. That's my take, but it's a very like not well thought out take yet, right? This is a very fledgling stance here. I can't keep minimal home screens for long enough because God, I love material U icons. Added my intro to the Discord. Thank you for the invite. Like, oh, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Finally caught a live stream while it's live. Welcome, welcome. A random stranger says, you kind of look like Tens. I get that a lot. I get that a lot. I think Tens is Southeast Asian. I'm half Filipino, so I'm like part Southeast Asian. So maybe there's some of that. And yeah, I've got that same kind of like roundish baby face. So yeah. +1 on politics are also relatively dividing and time consuming to catch up and form on. Yeah. Plus says, I have to admit, as soon as the stream's over, I'll probably install the Indiana Jones Order of Giants DLC in a Proton bottle and spend way too much time playing it. If you're having fun, have at it. I heard the Indiana Jones game was actually pretty good, despite being like a huge performance hog, and being like very NVIDIA favored, but I might be wrong about that. For lol won't run there. They actively detect it and use anti-cheat as an excuse, but in the end we use Linux because it doesn't allow such rootkits. Yeah. I'm glad to have been able to quit League of Legends. That's a big change in my life, which it sounds like silly, right? But like, yeah, quitting League has been really big. I do, I might want to start like Discord board game nights or something with some of my friends because I do see them in person, but there are times where I'm just like, I just want to call them and catch up as a group. It's like my group of childhood friends. We used to play games online a lot. Now we hang out in person more often, but it would be nice to be able to just pull up on like a Sunday night, play an hour of like the Settlers of Catan online game. Could be fun, something like that. Has the new Steam hardware been mentioned yet? No! I can't believe we haven't talked about that. The new Steam hardware looks awesome. I know it's probably going to be kind of underpowered and it's probably going to be 1,000 USD, but I'm still really excited about a Steam box console like thing. I'm really excited about it because I think it's going to be really important for Linux adoption. I think there's just going to be, I mean, the Steam Deck already has been, right? But I think there's just going to be a lot more people who have a Linux machine because they bought a Steam box and they're like, well, but it's also a computer, so I use it for work. And now, like, open source development is incentivized to make better UI UX, more accessible UI, all of that. Yeah, TTS board game night was a COVID classic, indeed. I'm aware that LoL doesn't run in Linux anymore. I was trying to play an acquired game, Expedition 33. Huh? I have the same problem with Valorant. I only use Windows because of it, and I wish I could just get rid of it completely. Also because Arch hates me and NVIDIA GPUs. Yes. Okay, so I'm running Arch with an NVIDIA GPU, and that's been working really smoothly. I would take a look at like CachyOS, for example, handles NVIDIA really nicely. But yes, Valorant, anything Riot shaped is just doomed on Linux, so that's unfortunate. Um, and I get it, right? Like sometimes you hear these like kind of snarky comments where they're like, somebody's like, oh, I would love to switch to Linux, but it doesn't have League of Legends. And they're like, Linux is actually just better for not having League of Legends. And it's like, okay, kind of. Like, yeah. But also, I like this game and I play it with my friends, right? It's not this simple situation. And I'm not switching to Dota. Fucking hate Dota. But yeah. It would be amazing if Valve made Linux popular. Yes, it would. It would be super exciting. Super excited for the Steam Frame, a good VR headset that stands alone, that's a standalone Linux box without being tied to Meta. I want to use it on plane rides for watching movies. That does sound like a cool use case. Sounds really fun. Gabe Cube. That's good. 7600X Good enough for a decent experience, but what I like the most about it is reference implementation of SteamOS on desktop hardware. Yes, yes, yes. A reference implementation of SteamOS is going to be really good. Yeah, the 7600X is not going to be powerful enough for me to have a lot of fun. Okay, hold on. I'm going to grab some more water because my throat is parched, and then I want to talk. I want to talk about my gaming setup because now that I get to game again, I'm done my 50-day declutter. Right now that I get to game again, I'm really excited to game, but my gaming setup is super fragile and I need to fix it. So I want some advice. I want to talk about this and see where we get because I think there's something really cool happening. Subscribed, and you're insulting my most played Steam game, these League of Legends players. I don't like Dota. I respect people who like Dota though. You can love your game, and I can love mine. I take this very general stance of like I'll happily say what I like and don't like, but that doesn't mean that I think that something's bad, right? I can hate things or dislike things that are good. And often I like things that are bad, like League of Legends. Or like I love shitty movies like Sharknado. Oh, I love the Sharknado series so much, and it's a terrible set of movies. So, if I say I don't like something that you like, it's not because I think I have superior taste or I'm putting down your taste. Chances are my taste is actually terrible. Okay, also, I want to show something off. We built this last stream. Is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one? Oh, it's this one. Okay, check this out. I love this thing. If we go... Okay, I'll be right back. Oh, I forgot my cup of water. I'm back. Okay. Isn't that thing fun? I love it. Okay. What do we got here? Um I've been playing some Dota since League stopped working on Linux, but why is a character's W in Dota stronger than Kassadin's alt? Yes, Dota's power is wild. I just couldn't get a handle of it. Got a 9070 XT plus 7600 X3D rig, and the 70X600 3D is not the bottleneck. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think the Gabe Cube. We're gonna call it the Gabe Cube. A couple of other acronyms I really like. My dad calls WSL, the Windows subsystem for Linux, Weasel. That needs to stick as part of the community. And honestly, if somebody could generate a little icon for that at Weasel, that would be really funny. So that's another one that needs to stick. What's a... There was another one he mentioned earlier. But yeah. What do we got? Just play Stardew Valley and call it a day. Sharknado, I watch all of those with my... I love Sharknado. So dumb. So fun. Insane ASCII art. Yes. So I didn't build ASCII Aquarium. All we did was add the be right back part. I might mess with it some more. I've never done Perl scripts before. But but Pearl's kind of fun to mess with. As it was described to me, it's kind of like uh, a slightly more sane Bash. Currently on my intentional consumption journey and found that playing games has been a great redirection from doom scrolling habits. I mainly indulge in single player experiences. Yes, I agree. I'm going to make a video on video games and doom scrolling at some point. Because I do very much think of, especially like really good single player games, I think of that as just engaging with a narrative. And that's, I think, good for you. You're doing some problem solving, you're having fun, you're engaging with leisure. You know, like those, I don't think those are bad things. And also there's an entire community around, say, Dark Souls, for example, um, which which that community really believes, and I say it believes not to say that I doubt them, but I haven't explored it myself, right? So I say believes, really believes that they're getting positive mental health outcomes from engaging with Dark Souls. I think that's perfectly possible, and I would love to read up on it and see if there's been some literature, because yeah, like I think at the very least, playing a single player game that you really like, engaging with it, it might be flow inducing, which we know is good for the sense of meaning in life and overall well being. How could that be worse than doom scrolling, right? I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. What do we got? So, anyways, that's my response to you, Jay is cozy. I think playing single player games can in many situations be much better than doom scrolling. Purple Wazard says, Nathan, do you think that having something like a Steam machine out in family area like living room be more beneficial than a PC in a bedroom? I think this would force me to wait until evenings to play. Yes, depending on your family situation and your like what your home life is like, it could be really positive for you. Because one, it could introduce useful boundaries if you feel like you're playing too much, but also like let's say you have siblings or something. Um, Somebody might sit on the couch and watch you play, and you might turn that isolating and something that might be isolating into something that's like social, and that might be really nice. Zincute says, I would get mad at most recent champions in League, but looks like I get mad at all heroes in Dota 2, probably because I feel like the items are the most broken thing. Yeah, I feel that. Modern League of Legends champions are just wild. And Dota 2, the item effects are so insane. I also see games as a more intentional way to spend time as opposed to YouTube, especially something like a Steam Deck versus a PC. Yes, I in general agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. Picking up my Steam Deck or emulation handheld has been so refreshing. I have small moments of victory when I choose to pick up a game versus my phone, which helps. I like that. Hey, Nick, welcome back. So, when are you setting up the new camera? Feels like you're getting distracted. I am getting distracted. Let's see if we can give this a shot. So, yes, let's try this. So, I'm going to see if I can bring you with me at least a little. I have my synth in the living room, so I will actually use it. Nice. Those videos about Dark Souls and mental health improvement have also appeared on my home feed. Yeah, I'm very interested in it. I think there's something there because there is a sense of Dark Souls is hard, right? And so I could see a very reasonable argument for conquering Dark Souls as a way to develop some sense of self-efficacy if you don't have much to begin with. So it could be really good for you. Been down the rabbit hole. Okay. Been down the rabbit hole, bought a ThinkPad T14 Gen 2, installed a Marching then on my phone, installed the Before launcher, ditched the PC for a ROG Ally. I'm much more present with my family and myself. I love that. That's awesome. Rookie Coach AFL. Nice. Juan says, just sub to say that a ton of people are thinking of Steam Machine as a PC, but it's more console, so FSR at 6 will look great. Nice. I'm planning to put a sketchbook beside my work laptop instead of my phone, so that I reach to draw instead of to check notifs when feeling frustrated. Yes, this is very much in line with like the nudge literature, and I think there's a pretty decent chance that could be successful. Okay. Okay. I hope this cable is long enough. We'll find out shortly. Ugh. right. Just playing with focus here now. This might work. This might work. Let's try test bench. Ho! Okay. So we have desk view. It's out of focus though. So let's see if we can get that fixed up. Can you all still hear me and everything? We're all good? I also don't have a dummy battery for this yet, so it's something. Spend more time with AH handheld with single player games. Okay, let's see. Why is my Whoa! That was not the intention. Okay. Function. What are we doing over here? Okay, so you're still just getting that, which is good. This is out of focus, right? I'm not tripping. We're good? That's okay. I'm gonna move this over here. Yeah, that's is it that is is it just that the sensors Dude, I use uninternet because of you, and it disables live stream chat. I had to disable it to type this. Yeah, there's yeah, there's some work that needs to be done on some of these extensions. I'm hoping to maybe that. I mean, I would love one day to build one ourselves as a team that satisfies all of the needs we're thinking about. We'll see how that goes. Okay, how can I get this thing to focus? Focus cancel. Why are you canceling my focus? I want you to focus. I'm just playing around with this now. Oh, okay. Focus mode. Continuous autofocus. Okay, but we're in focus now, right? Let's go. Okay, what do we got? Um. Okay. My friend group and I decided this week that we are no longer going to play Roblox and be more intentional with what games we play together. Roblox feels like it's just devs fighting for your attention now. Interesting. Yeah, I often have to turn off my blockers and stuff momentarily. So like for example, if we go desktop, we go over here, go over to YouTube. So I have uninternet, and I often have to do this little pause for 30 minutes, fella. And then often, so I use all of them all at once to add more friction. So I have like undistracted, unhook, and uninternet all at once. And so I'm often kind of like turning them off, turning them on, but it's something. It's something. Okay, what do we got? You block origin and picking elements to block manually has been the best option for me. That sounds smart. I like that. Don't go off topic in Nathan's stream. This feels out of focus. Can you lift the book? In focus. Tamper Monkey is still my weapon of choice to make websites usable again. I'm on the wrong camera. I need to take a look at Tamper Monkey. You've brought that up a number of times, and I haven't taken the time to look at it yet, which is like, why haven't I done that? Okay, so we have yes, there are two test benches. There we go. Cool. So let's see if it focuses a little higher up as well. Okay. I think it might not be able to focus that far. So I can zoom in, but I can't zoom out any further than that. What tiling window manager is that? I've been itching to switch to one, but it's scary to lose my DE niceties. I use Omarchi, like so it's just Hyperland, but with a bunch of um with a bunch of additional configuration, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Using minimal is great for Firefox users. Works on YouTube, Instagram, and Amazon. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to curate a list of things for when I switch over, make the full switch to Firefox as well. I think on the wiki we'll be creating a list for every browser. Is this the start of the read along? That would be fun, wouldn't it? Okay, so I just wanted to show off some smartphone features. So here's my phone. Guess we'll keep it down here like that. Yeah, that works. Okay, I'm just gonna bring that off. Make sure that I don't have anything wonky here. So here's my screen time. I think just a little lower. Yeah, so it gets out of focus here. And then I'm getting this problem. This'll do. This'll do for now. I'll need like a better light source at some point, but this'll do. So this is my screen time for the last while. 21, 12, 23. I'm at 6. um, I don't have ChatGPT on my phone anymore. I think the AI applications are pretty attention-y, by the way. I think there's something worth being concerned about in that regard. Especially the AI applications that are like trying to be your friend. I think that's quite concerning to me. Ah, manual focus. Holy cannoli. Okay. So yeah, anyways, this I also use some applications like ScreenZen. So ScreenZen is nice. You can set a group of applications that you want an intervention for. I have it on my messages. So if I go to messages, it hits me with this, right? And then I go through, it gives me a notification. I have to solve some math puzzles. Well, I wait out the timer, but I always do the math. So, and then I can unlock the application and then I can go to my messages up here. I'm not going to do that because I don't want you all to see my texts. um, some other really cool features. If we go over to settings and then, is it under here? It's content and privacy restrictions. If you go to iTunes and App Store purchases, you can do that. You can disallow uh, you can disallow installing apps. You can disallow in-app purchases. And then you can also go down to allowed apps and features. You can see I've turned off Mail and Safari. So I can't use a browser on my phone. I know that seems kind of nuts, but I was finding that I was scrolling Instagram on Safari in black and white. And so that wasn't what I wanted to be doing. So there you go. What do we think? It looked not bad, right? Like that. I need some better lighting for that, but I think that'll make for a good video. Okay, let's take a look. Tamper Monkey is good. Definitely gives you a sense of control back if you want to build your own blocks. Okay, cool. So I'll definitely maybe we can share some Tamper Monkey configs that people will want to use. That could work really nicely. Focus is fine. Hyperland is great. I've been using i3 and BSP for like 5 years and switched to Hyperland a while ago, and it's so much better. Yeah, I was an i3 user as well. Hyperland felt nice. Used GNOME at the time, but I love i3. Probably switching to Sway. Exciting. XFCE. Oh, XFCE has a warm place in my heart because the Debian machines we used at the University of Guelph were all like Debian XFCE VMs, I think. I'm not sure. Or maybe just, yeah, something like that. It was cute though. Friendliness of AIs makes me feel yucky and I want to keep it that way. Yeah. Yeah. They stress me out. They're like too personal. I use Screen Zen for shorts and Insta Reels. Nice. Yeah, I'll definitely make a video on Screen Zen. I think it's worthwhile. This was a recommendation from Nick's partner, and it was super useful for me. A lot easier to use than OneSec, so I'm happy about that. Monochrome is best in slot. Racking up screen time by looking at screen time. Yeah. Debian is GOAT. I'm a huge Debian fan. All my servers are Debian. All my servers are Debian. I think Plus is also a big Debian fan. I don't think that. I know that. Anyways, I'm gonna turn off this camera because I don't have a dummy like power source for it yet. But oh, I set it to record instead. We have proven that it works. It works well here. I had to replace the test bench, but I haven't used the test bench in a while anyway, so it's not that big a deal. I didn't do any Linux studying today. Dang it. You guys are too interesting. And then I don't do any studying. Grok is much more dry and unfriendly lately, and it feels better to use because of that. Interesting. I've been avoiding Grok because of the Mecha Hitler situations. Also, and this is like, I realize not everyone's going to agree with my stance, and I don't need you to. I avoid anything produced by Elon Musk personally, right down to Tesla's. I hate the fact that they redesigned handles. Like, we know how handles work. Okay, here's a rant. The affordances of handles, we know how they work. They're really obvious. And they somehow screwed up handles so that anybody who ever tries to get into a Tesla for the first time is like, what the, how do I, why does it, what do I, how do I want to grab, but it's flat. It just, and they just mess with like very useful design patterns for no reason, and then I just, yeah. Anyways, that's my rant. Why is this over here? Oh yes, I needed to make sure that the focus was good. Okay. A thing that I can't decide on, since my biggest problem is watching YouTube. Am I doing something bad right now? Consuming content about not consuming content. You know what I mean? I think about this a lot because I recognize that there is a certain kind of irony in all this. At the end of the day, I don't feel particularly bad about the time we spend together on stream. That's different because like I'm the creator, right? Like I'm the person who's sort of like, you know, but I do think that there's a reasonable amount of like, you can spend a reasonable amount reinforcing the belief and the identity that you're forming around wanting to reduce your screen time and your problematic use. And by participating in this community, as long as it's within a reasonable set of boundaries, I think that's probably net beneficial. That's the way that I think about it, but I understand where you're coming from, and I think that's a reasonable critique to raise. What else we got? They were old Sun Microsystem boxers. Really? That's hilarious. I'm working on slowly getting rid of all the social media, for most RSS can work. I'm hoping to replace YouTube with Jellyfin, with Pinch Flat to be more intentional when I'm watching random videos. Nice. Are you going to do Advent of Code this year? Oh, I'm thinking about it. I want to, but I am also like, I've been trying to be more careful about like overloading myself with work lately. Because like in my heart, I'm like, oh, it would be so much fun to stream even for just an hour a day doing the Advent of Code stuff. But then you're like, that's an hour a day. That's a lot to take on. And I have other goals of things I want to learn. If I were to do Advent of Code, it would be either in Bash or Go. Those would be my two choices. Maybe Python. I think it could be super fun. And I think maybe as a community, a little Advent of Code channel in the Home Lab section could be really fun. Maybe, and I'll make a quick video because I like Advent. I think it's a good idea. AI apps being your friend is the ultimate dream of marketing, and I already don't like brands trying to replace human warmth. Yes, hard agree. I've been avoiding Elon things all the time, but I hate to admit it, but Grok is actually a good product. Ah, all right, good to know. I might have to take another look. I saw a thread of Tesla owners sharing techniques for opening their car doors, and it made me feel insane. Yes, that's nuts. It's a door. It has a handle. Just use the handle. Plus, I'm the author of a Tamper Monkey script that replaces news about Elon Musk by pics of puppies and the headline "Don't worry, nothing happened" on Austrian news sites. I love that. I love that. If you ever expand that to work on a couple of other sites for a broader audience, I would absolutely make like a little comical video about this. I think that would be super fun. Chris RM1PN says, also, hi, new here. Real fan of your recent content. Oh, well, thank you very much. Welcome. You are more than welcome to join us anytime you like. AI is pushed currently in my company so it can replace writing code. The long-term goal is that Claude writes and the developer thinks. Yes, that seems to be a fairly common stance these days. We can work on the web app on stream possibly. Might be good for motivation. That could be fun. I do find, though, I just spend the entirety of the time interacting with chat. Like when chat was small, when it was like 10 to 12 of us, I could work on home lab projects. But these days, like there's so many interesting streams of communication happening that I'm just like responding. I would never use AIs if I were a Yank like you. With GDPR here in the EU, we at least get the illusion of privacy. Yeah, I mean, so I'm not from the US. I'm from Canada, and we are at least a kind of middle ground between the US and Europe. Like in general, we're slightly more social programs, slightly more privacy respecting, better public transit, public healthcare. But we're definitely not the GDPR. We do not have GDPR levels of privacy respecting, and that's something that needs to change here. Maybe if it takes me away from something else, like family, then it's clear to me, but often it's just me wasting time or fleeing the real world. What exactly are you referring to there, Dixie? Just so I can understand and respond to you, respond to you the way you deserve, by hearing you properly. If they really push chat control in EU, I will try hard to switch to Signal, at least in my family environment. Oh, interesting. Those Danes are a bit mad, but realistically, that law is never getting anywhere. Hello. Diogo M. Campos. Is that how I pronounce your name? Hello, new here too. Your video on digital declutter was really interesting. I'm going to try a different approach, reduce and refocus, but not eliminate. I think reduce and refocus is a very good strategy, and there's a lot of stuff, a lot of ways that you can make that work for you. So definitely don't think that you have to do it my way to be like accepted in our community. I've taken a pretty extreme stance because partly it's fun for me. Oh, I just wanted to see. But also I've been like reading this literature for a long time, so I'm kind of like lost in the sauce. Sorry about consuming content, about not consuming content. Ah, I see. Most nice people is from Canada, eh? Yeah. Maybe if it takes me like then it's clear to me, but often it's just me wasting time or fleeing the real world. I see. Yeah. I think there's definitely a way that you can. This happens a lot, and I think about this quite a bit, right? It's easy to replace doing the thing that you want to do with consuming content about doing the thing you want to do, or buying things that make you look like you're doing the thing you want to do. My favorite example is like people who want to start running, but instead of just running, they like buy all the running gear and install Strava. And it's like, but you could have just put on your running shoes and gone, right? Sometimes we can trick ourselves out of doing the difficult thing and still feeling engaged with that thing by creating an appearance of it. So yeah, that's possible. That's correct indeed. Excellent. Nice. Aussie EU application is long overdue. I'm glad we got the second camera up and running. I've been thinking about doing that for a while. It puts me a little bit closer to finally making some videos about my phone. Aussies joined Eurovision Song Contest last time when it was in Austria. 10 years later, in Austria again. Let's get Canada in. I would love to be a European. Oh my god, if we could get GDPR and some of the, a little bit more Europe vibes in Canada, I'm all for it. Because, well, nobody wants to be close to the States right now, so. Gearhead here. Only thing holding me back is lack of funds. Ah, I feel that. As a recovering productivity bro, Nathan likes going all in on things, like reading hard books. Yes, it's true. I do very often like to take the hardest approach to things. Um, I've been working on it though. For example, I played Elden Ring instead of Dark Souls 1 as my introduction to the Souls likes. Isn't that maybe not? Yeah. Baby steps. Baby steps. Um, Tell me about bad neighbors. One of mine invaded another country. Oh God. Yeah. The country of EU welcomes your application. Hang tight for a couple of years. Ever thought about switching to Android with Graphene OS? Okay, actually, this is really interesting. So first off, yes. And if I can source a Pixel for really cheap, then I'll give it a try. Um, we'll see. I want to talk about something soon, and I'll get to it. First, I'm going to answer this. What is your job? I am my official title is research engineer. I work at Autodesk. Though standard disclaimers. None of my opinions are their opinions, and all of that stuff. Like this is my stream, has nothing to do with them. All of that. But anyways, yes, I basically do some software development and um, infrastructure and DevOpsy things for researchers, and it's pretty fun. I like my job a fair amount. I do some Linux stuff, I do some AWS stuff, and I do some Python software development. Pretty good, pretty good job. Um, we actually don't have better data privacy laws in Canada versus the US when it comes to ad targeting and personalization. Yeah, there are, but we do have some benefits. So, like my background being in research, right, is if you're doing research at a Canadian institution, you can't put participant data on servers that are on US soil because of how bad the privacy laws are in the US. So we have that improvement, but I haven't actually read that much on ad targeting. So Jake, if you have some sources, I would love to read some about that. It'd be fun. What do we got? You do nerdy stuff. I do indeed. Isn't the US very state dependent? It is. Um, but yeah, it is. The US is weird. I don't understand the US. So I try not to comment on it too much other than I'm glad I live in Canada. um mhm. How much do you work? How do you work? Do you work from home? So yes, I do work from home. Um, I was working full time, like 9 to 5, for the last 5 months, but my contract recently switched to 3 days a week. 3 days a week, 8 hours. So I've got more time than I used to have. And yes, I do. I do pretty much work from home. So I have a fair amount of extra time. Although then I put it into this. So a lot. I usually end up keeping pretty busy, no matter how much I'm like working. I'm always working. Matthew, oh Canada, hell yeah. Um, okay, what was I gonna do? Yes, okay, I'm really excited about this. So I want to tell you about something that came up recently. I was approached by a company developing a minimal phone, right? And I am very wary of sponsors and things like that. Um, because I don't want to like take some money and make a piece of shit video and pitch you a product that sucks, right? So I've turned down every sponsor so far to date. This is the first time that I'm actually excited about a product that they're going to be sending. So the product is called the Sleek Phone, and some of the things that like really sent me good vibes were they didn't reach out asking me to give me a phone and review the phone. They reached out because on team they have a guy who's got a PhD in neuroscience and is interested in developing a distractibility index to assess how distractible applications are and potentially publish a paper about this. It then came out after, so we met to discuss this. And then the guy was like, yeah, just as a heads up, I'm like this co-CEO or co-founder or whatever of this thing called the Sleek Phone. That's why we're building the distractibility index. I'm like, okay, well, I am interested in minimal phones, obviously, right? However, I'm like iffy on um, the way minimal phones have been recently. Like, I would happily review the light phone, for example, but I don't think it aligns with the way I view dumb phones being useful or minimal phones being useful. It's also like 800 USD, which is kind of nuts to me. It evokes like sort of um, kind of like I don't know, that kind of like status symbol-y minimalism, right? Whereas this is built on Pixel 7s, it feels like the graphene OS of minimal phones. And so you can still call an Uber, but like um, it tailors a smaller app store and a bunch of other features and things like that. And it's very much what I would have built had I the time and motivation to build something like this. At least from what I've seen. They were also very like straightforward. They're like, "Hey man, you can just completely trash our phone during your review if you want. You don't have to take it, whatever." Um, and that all strikes me as very positive. They seem very open to real feedback, very open to communication. The device actually seems like it's drawing from science. So I'm really stoked about this, and they're sending one in December. So there will probably be a review on this sleek phone in the future. I'm going to drop a link if you're interested. Um, I think I have good feelings about this. I am thinking about helping them um, with their distractibility index. So I'm excited about this. Here you go. Only 3 days. Isn't this almost a 50% salary cut? Yes. Yes. Money is quite tight right now. Yeah. But, you make do. It is what it is. I know that I'm very early in my career in the software space, and these things are inevitable. So I would like to make more money, but I'm grateful that I have a job. I'm grateful that I like my job. And I'm hoping that my contract gets extended again, or I get to find employment that is also equally enjoyable at some point. I will say, AdSense on YouTube has actually made a significant impact, which is kind of nice. So, you know, I'm kind of like using this time to build up the YouTube channel and build up maybe some software as a servicey type stuff that might be beneficial. So, we do what we can. Okay. Anybody have good recommendations on getting into reading for pleasure? I never find that I can fully engage in a book for long periods of time, like 30 minutes or more. I would recommend. This is something I've thought about a lot. I recommend starting small and accepting that you can read for 5 to 10 minutes, and that's still useful. That's a useful thing to do. By becoming accepting of these like smaller reading times, you start to read more often because you're like, well, yeah, I can do 5 minutes. I can do 10 minutes. I can read while I wait for the bus. That I found helps a lot, and you sort of start to build. Um, you start to build a sort of reading resilience or endurance, and that helps. I became a Canadian citizen last year. Very happy I decided not to move to the US a few years ago. Oh, congratulations! Welcome to Canada. I used to work on data privacy and consent management at Unity for their ad network, so I had to keep up with all the privacy laws of all the countries to code them into our systems. Oh. Maybe don't start with the philosophical stuff that I'm trying to read, and Myth of Sisyphus is so confusing. Yes, agreed. Um, yeah, don't do what I do and dive into like the hardest stuff to read as possible. Maybe don't start with Plato unless you're very motivated to do so. iPhone user here. Is it possible to doable graphene in Android? I actually don't know. Graphene is just Android with extra hardening that you can disable per app. About minimal phones, I've heard new Books Palma will have cellular features. Sounds promising, although I don't trust them with security updates and long-term support. Yes, I would love if the Sleek Phone people did at some point an e-ink screen. I think that would be incredible. Il faut imaginer Sisyphe heureuse. Yes, had to read it in French classes. It's short, so I liked it. May I ask how old you are? Yes, I'm 27. I'll be turning 28 in February. I'm still on the beginning. Camus hasn't even mentioned Sisyphus yet. He doesn't until the end. Page every day. Yeah. What do you think about profiting from AdSense while advocating blocking ads? I know you got to make money, but what is your take on it? It's something I'm somewhat conflicted about, admittedly. Um, but at the end of the day, if I blocked out every possible means of making money and gave away everything for free, I wouldn't be able to do anything valuable because I would be broke and dead. So I think it's a lesser of many evils, and I like it's a very like unintrusive way to make some money off of the things that I create. So I don't feel bad too much. I would like to shift over to providing adless experiences on Patreon and things like that. Um, but then I would have to bring more people over to Patreon. And I haven't really done a push for that yet. So, yeah. I started to read before bed, reading less than 10 pages a day. Now I itch to read. Nice. That's awesome. Best recommendation, don't get a book above 200 pages at first. You'll get overwhelmed. Yes, yes. I started with a lot of short books, and that helped a lot. What do you think of the Zettelkasten method? I think it's useful if you do it for specific projects. I like Zettelkasten-y things are useful for me when when I was writing out my master's thesis. I found that really helpful. I don't like to use, if you've seen my Notion video, you know that I'm not a huge fan of like using a Zettelkasten system for everything you could possibly know. So if it's scoped to a project, I think it's quite good. Make everything e-ink. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of e-ink. Big like I really want. I mean, maybe not for my gaming screen, but for phones, potentially even my laptop, I could see it. I want to play around with e-ink some more. I recommend White Knights if you have any interest in Dostoevsky. Super short, interesting. I read Demons and I read what is it? I forgot the other one that I read. The Underground Man. That's it. Yeah, something like that. Um, big fan. I will be reading Crime and Punishment probably over the Christmas break. Gotta go. Have a good rest of your stream. Thanks for dropping by, Jake. I'll catch you. I'll give you a call soon. For reading, start with something fun and easy and short. Hell yeah. But with Sleek Phone, seems to be just a Pixel 7 with a dumbed down OS. Yes, pretty much. But I think we need to, like, I think that's extremely valuable. I think giving people an operating system that is stripped down, that avoids a lot of the distracting elements, is an incredible value. So, I'm very supportive of that. Yeah. Mentioning the Books Palma, how good is a Kobo versus a Kindle? I was interested in a Books Gen 2 Air or something like that, since it's an Android voice and I can also read manga. Um, I found my Kobo equally useful as a Kindle. I have not at all been disappointed with it. Yeah. It's so expensive. Yeah. I mean, it is a phone, so I expect it to be somewhat expensive. And I will be like still doing videos on how you can dumb down your existing phone. But I think there's a space where people might find this useful. So I am expensive. Pocketable books are a godsend. Agreed. From my experience, all banking works, original Pixel camera works, even Widevine is supported, since you can relock bootloader. So if banking app wouldn't work, I'd say the app sucks. YouTube Premium Lite is great for those who are tired of ads but still want to support creators. Highly recommend, $7 a month. What tools do you use for personal project management? I feel like plain Markdown is just not cutting it for me, but I don't want to go back to Notion. Any tips? Honestly, I haven't been doing a lot of project management lately because I haven't had a lot of big projects to work on. The first big project I've had in a while is the web app we're building. So I'm not sure. I do like Markdown a lot. Yeah, I haven't been doing large scale project management. I've been using these like little to this. Yeah, I've been doing using these little field notes and just setting like just picking three things to work on per day and having a vague idea of what I would like to achieve for the totality of the week. I know that's not a very satisfying answer, but that is what I've been up to. I wish for e-ink display for programming. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. There's some guy on YouTube who does it. It seems kind of interesting. Crime and Punishment was one of my favorite obligatory reading books in school. Nice. Dude, my NeoVim is already extremely minimal. E-ink would complete the aesthetic. Nice. I was talking about the books gen when I said it was expensive, not the sleek phone. Ah, I see. Yeah, I haven't looked too deep into the book stuff. I am interested though. Um, I use Anytype. There's also Obsidian. Obsidian looks really good. I have a Nebula subscription. Does this only work for big TM creators? I'm not sure. I haven't looked at Nebula yet. I don't know if I'm big enough for them to care. But if I am, then might go down that route. I'm a little bit like yeah, I don't know how I want to do the whole financial support thing like for people who are interested in supporting the channel and myself financially. Um I don't know how to handle that yet. That's why I haven't been pushing Patreon. I don't know what to provide. So, we'll see. Good question about how do you guys handle linked files in Markdown? I'll show you. So, go over here, and then just gonna go DB. You can see I just have a flat directory of Markdown files, and then even without NeoVim, actually, let's do this with just vanilla Vim. You can hover over text that is the name of a file, and hit GF, and it'll bring you to the file. GF for go to file in my head. Then you can do Control O to go back. Control I goes forward, right? So you can sort of traverse. I don't have that file. Huh? Don't I have that? Oh, I see. Yes. Anyways, that's generally how I handle it. Like that. That's pretty sweet. By the way, I will be probably shutting down stream relatively shortly, but it's been kind of fun. Bought a Yoda phone in Hong Kong, loved its e-ink display, had some problem with Chinese-only frequency support, stopped using it when getting firmware updates from Russia became highly undesirable. Yeah, that makes sense. Something like Floatplane would be a great option. You have a tight enough niche to fit right into their lineup. Okay. Yeah, it's something that I've been thinking about. I just don't know what to do yet exactly. But yeah, Nebula and Floatplane seem interesting, so we shall see. I just got Kobo recently to get rid of using phone in bed. Nice! I chose it because it's just Linux under the hood, and it's pretty unlocked. Apparently, you can even add custom scripts or UI menu buttons. I didn't know that. That is pretty awesome. VimWiki is also cool. I just go with Markdown because I found I didn't need the VimWiki features, but it's cool. So I need to know the insane Vim bindings. GG. Like a little. Yeah. Are you aware of the Omarchi DHH controversy because of DHH's blog posts? Do you have a take on it? Yes, I am aware. I try to avoid these discussions. I will say this much. I don't support DHH's takes. Those are not good takes. They're hateful takes. And so that's not good. And I've thought about like if that would mean I should not be on Omarchi. I generally take a separate the art from the artist stance, and Omarchi has been pretty good software for me. But I recognize that this is that is problematic. I recognize that there is something there. That's as far as my sort of stance goes on that. And I try to avoid the conversation about it because it derails us into online politics and sort of hateful things. And I don't generally like that. Yeah. I try to avoid those topics in general. Not to say that, you've done something bad by bringing it up. But yeah. Hey Nathan, saw one of your videos recently which made me aware of digital minimalism. Do you have Mastodon or are you interested in the Fediverse? I am somewhat interested in the Fediverse. I'm not really a big fan of any Twitter likes, even ones that are self-hostable and data privacy respecting. But the Fediverse does interest me as a concept. Yeah. Are people not driving Volkswagen because of who created it? That's kind of my stance on issues like that. Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. I'm a Rails dev. Sucks that I can't really disconnect from him more. Ah, yes. Yes. Ruby on Rails is everywhere. Yeah. I love to screw around in Linux, trying out stuff and learning about it. Playing in Omarchy and Hyperline is so much fun, but I don't have any reason to use it. Same with NeoVim, I don't code. Well, I mean, if it makes you happy and it's fun, that's a pretty good reason. Just learning Linux for the sake of learning Linux is a lot of fun, and it helps a lot. I like it. You can make a career out of it, that's for sure. So yeah. Anyways, gang, I think I am going to call this a stream, but we got a lot of new faces in this stream, and it was a lot of fun. I swear I'm going to start doing Linuxy things on stream again. I really am. But yeah, it's been hard. There's just so many cool people to chat with. I think I may start doing a secondary stream at some point. I'm not sure. It's hard to devote more time. Um, but yeah, I'll think about that. Anyways, I hope this has been fun for all of you. It's been fun for me. I will catch you all next week. I will do my best to put out a video this week. I'm going to try to get back to my weekly cadence with 2 weeks off during the Christmas break for me. But yeah, I don't know. Things are going pretty well. I do want to just quickly. I just want to show you all something. Um, I want to show you some YouTube analytics because I'm grateful to you all for all this. Like, check this out. 6,000 views within a single day on this video. Thanks. Thanks, gang. That's really nice. We've just been getting so much support lately, and that makes me feel good. And it makes me want to contribute more. So, thank you all. Okay. Here comes the but. Yes. I always say bye and then like, wait, one more thing. We're done. I'll catch you all next week, and I'll try to put out a video this week. So see you all soon. Have a good rest of your week. I'm having fun with the Mondays. Yeah. Bye, friends. Oh, Friday. I keep forgetting this. Kaiju Owl Friday. We pick a different like monster from the Kaiju series every Friday. And I keep forgetting, but I will try to remember this time. Plus picks them, and they're awesome, and it's fun to learn. So